Hey YouTube, I wanted to do a video tonight on my SKS rifle. I might do a couple videos on this rifle, but tonight I'm going to deal with a modification that I did to this rifle. Basically, I replaced the top handguard with a metal ventilated one. I really like the idea of the appeal. Now, this is the SKS 45 rifle. In Russia, in the long term, it's known as Samovaryadny Karabina Systemy Semenova 4-10 What that means is self-loading carabine system. Semenov. Semenov is the designer. And then, of course, the year that it went into service was 45. So, but that's so long, we'll just call it the SKS. Now, as I said, I became aware of this ventilated handguard that was available. And the idea really appealed to me because I never really liked that wooden piece up here. It somehow just seemed clunky, and it kind of broke up the streamlined metal continuous run effect, and I didn't really like that. So when I saw this, I thought, man, I might like that. So I ordered it off of eBay, $10 plus shipping. Probably, I'm sorry, I got it on Amazon, not eBay. eBay probably has it too. So I ordered it, came in the mail, comes in this envelope, just like this, or at least, this is the one I got. Comes in an envelope, there's my old handguard, with this one little quarter-page instruction, shows you how to do it. Now, if you're mechanically inclined, you're not going to have any problem with it, really. If you're not mechanically inclined, like a lot of us aren't, I'll take you out in the garage, and I'll kind of go through the steps. Very simple, because what you have to do is you have to get the wooden part off your gas tube and put the metal one on there. It's not a big deal, a few steps, and I'll go over it. And if anyone decides they want to do this slight modification on their SKS, maybe a help for you. Now, again, this guard serves no real function other than aesthetics. This change, I mean, not the guard, but the change. So it doesn't improve the cooling or whatever. For me, it's just a visual. Now, I'm a traditionalist. I generally don't go in for all the plastic stocks and all that stuff. And I think that this is consistent with its kind of the traditional look of these firearms. So, with that being said, let's head on out to the shop and we'll go over some of these steps on how to do this changeover. Okay, the very first thing, of course, you want to do is clear your weapon. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to just remove the front handguard. Now, you should know how to field strip your weapon, but you just slide this little lever up at about 45 degrees. If you go too far, you can't get it off. So take it up at about 45 and lift it off. Sometimes you got to move that little lever back and forth to find the exact spot where it'll allow it to come off. Drop your plunger out. Now you're going to have your gas tube right here. Now let's get a closer look and see what we got. Okay, now we've got our gas tube out. What you're going to find is you're going to find a little rivet head at this one end. You've got to drive that rivet on through here. One side I think will be a little bit bigger. That'll have the factory head on the rivet. The other side will be the one that's been mushroomed over. So what you want to do is you want to support that end. Put it up on a block, but put it at an angle so that that pin can pass through and not run into the block. So put it on there and get a sharp point, maybe a 16-penny nail, something like that, with a very sharp point. Put it right up on there and strike it a few times. See if that thing will break through and start popping out at this end. I did it a few times and it wouldn't go. The mushroom was too strong. So what I had to do was I took a nail, put it right in the center of that, and I struck it to create a dimple. Then what you want to do is you want to take a drill bit with a drill bit that's a little bit smaller than this head, and you want to center it on that little dimple so that the dimple allows it to just stay in one spot so the drill bit doesn't start walking all over the place. Drill down in there just a little bit. You don't need much. Then try to drive it through again. That drill bit will eat away at this material up here of the rivet,
to make it weaker. Now you don't want to get into this part of it. You just want to drill that rivet head a little bit. So drill down in there a little bit, take your nail, put it in there and hit it a couple more times and strike it, and it'll start to come through. Once you get it to come out, extract that rivet. They'll give you a new one. If they don't give you a new one, you can probably find a nail about that size. Nails are made out of pretty soft steel. You could mushroom both sides of it if you had to. Not a big deal. Now from there, you're going to find when you try to put this back together with the metal in there instead of the wood, you may find, as I did, that the metal doesn't fit in there. It's too big, just by a hair. So what I did was I went over and I touched it, just that very tip of this guard with my belt sander. I think I used just a little bit. You could use a file, easy enough. You don't have to take off much. You don't want to come all back in here. You just want to hit just that very dip, because this is not very deep. It's just a little 1/4 of an inch. So hit that a little bit until this fits all the way on there. You may have to do the same thing at this end, just a little bit. Don't take off too much at one time, because if you take off too much, it could be a little bit loose on there. So just hit it a few licks and see if it works. And once you got it together and you can see down through the hole that the holes are lined up, you can get the new pin in there, then you're ready to go ahead and do that. So they'll give you a clip which will go right in the center of the hand guard here. You push that clip down in there and then you put it all together. That clip is like a spring, and it keeps this metal guard in tension against this gas tube so it's not rattling around. So put that together, put your 2 ends in, slide your rivet through there. Now I just used a axe head or a hammer as an anvil. So I put that in there, and then I took my nail set and turned it upside down to use the blunt end of it, put it on top of there, and I hit it with a few times with another hammer to start to mushroom that over. It didn't take too much effort, but you can see it'll start to mushroom over. You're not going to get it to flatten all the way out. You just want it to spread out so that it can't slide back out of there. Then what you want to do is you want to take your file again and just smooth what's remaining up. And just smooth that off, smooth it off on this side. You can see where I kind of ground that nice and smooth. You want to do the same thing. Now again, you want to be careful that you don't get into all this finished material. So you grind that off smooth, and then you're in shape. You're ready just to reassemble. So let's go ahead and put this right back together.
Now reassemblies should be pretty easy. Just put your plunger back in. Turn it around. Now, a little word to the wise. If you take this takedown lever up past 45 degrees, you tip it up too far, a little spring-loaded plunger will fly right out of here. And it comes out with a pretty good force. If that happens, just take it and just get a pencil or something and push it back in there. And then put it back to the 45 degree. And it'll hold it in there. Now, make sure your pen's not sticking out the end here, or your plunger. Hook it back in there, put it back down, and back down. And that's it. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for this little instructional how to put that hand guard on. I hope it might be a help to somebody if they're thinking about doing that. Sometimes you get into a project, you wonder if it's more than you can handle, and everybody's at different skill levels and has different tools available. So I think you have a pretty good idea what's involved with this, not that much. So, I may be doing 1 or 2 more videos on the SKS, so if you're interested in that and some of the other topics I do, feel free to subscribe. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.